Hey guys, Nicole here. I am here with a layout share. I know it's been a while. I apologize. Um, so, um, I was able to fit in a scrapbooking weekend with Angie, my best friend. For those of you who don't know or are new to my page, she lives in Colorado and I live in Nebraska, and we meet halfway and we get together for about 4 days and we scrapbook and eat and watch Netflix and movies and things like that. And these days, this is kind of the main time that I get to scrapbook. And so it's usually when I have layout shares is after I've done one of those weekends. Now, there's probably going to be a little bit of time before I get another one of these because, as many of you know, I co-own a coffee shop and gift shop in the town that I live in, and it's like a boutique. It has boutique clothing and jewelry and things like that, and then it's a coffee shop. And we have decided to expand, and we're opening up another one in a town, another small community about 20 miles away. And so life is about to get a little bit crazy here. I'm gonna have to focus on that for a while. So I'm not for sure when our next weekend is gonna be, but I think it's going to be busier for a while, and then it'll slow down, and hopefully we'll get back to it. Just because I think down the road we'll probably do some more hiring and it'll actually lessen the amount of time I'm working. But for the next probably year, it's going to be a little bit crazy. So I'm hoping we can fit some more weekends in. We usually do National Scrapbook Weekend in May, and I just don't know if it's going to work this time around, but we'll see. Anyway. So we did get a weekend in about a week and a half ago, and I got a few layouts made, so I wanted to show them to you before I put them away. And this is the first one I made. This was my, sometimes you have to get that one layout done just to kind of get back into the groove of scrapbooking, and this was it. So I decided as usual, I took a whole bunch of kits, and specifically I knew kind of the pictures I'd printed recently had some birthday photos and some library themed photos and book themed photos, and so I made sure I packed some kits that matched those. And so these first few layouts you're going to see are going to be birthday. My oldest daughter just turned 16 in January, and so kind of a big birthday. I wanted to make sure I got it documented. And I have a few past years I haven't documented yet, but since I had these memories fresh in my mind and I had the pictures with me, I went ahead and scrapbooked those. As many of you know, I do not scrapbook chronologically, so I'm not someone who has to have, her 13th birthday scrapbooked before I scrapbook her 16th birthday. I just scrapbook things as I feel like it. The same thing with product is that and a lot of this actually is older product, but I definitely don't pigeonhole myself into only using older product before I use newer product, because in the past when I did that, then all my product ended up being old product by the time I got to it. So I just now have figured out I just take what I want to play with and the pictures I want to scrapbook and that I feel like documenting, and I just go with that. And then that way I really enjoy it, and I don't feel like it's something that I have to do it in a certain way. And so I'm very much along those lines as far as how I scrapbook. I keep it pretty free. So the first collection, well, basically what I do is I keep all my birthday themed supplies together. So I had a couple kits that were all combined together. This is from a Webster's Pages collection from a few years ago that was birthday themed. I think there's Echo Park collection in here, some old Heidi Swap. So I just keep themed products kind of all together. And so most of this, I generally worked with one collection at a time, but some of them it's definitely intermixed. And so so this is the first page I made, just kind of getting back into the groove of scrapbooking. And it was just my daughter was meeting a couple of friends at my coffee shop, and then a mentor of hers showed up with a gift for her that was super sweet. So I took a quick picture and wanted to document that and document their relationship. And so that was the first page that I made. It is very busy and very, it has a lot of It's very 3D. It has a lot of texture to it. I used a lot of chipboard, but it was fun. And again, I was just kind of getting back into the groove. But I just layered some bigger papers. Sorry, my shirt I'm wearing today is like super wrinkly. I'm sorry about that. So I just kind of layered some of the fun pattern papers, and then did the photo, and then did some tags and just some layering underneath it, and then a little cluster here. You'll see that is often, that's kind of my go-to. I talk about this I think every time. It just is, there's a few things that I've noticed about what I do that makes me really like a page that I do. One is the picture being kind of the main kind of cluster area, and then doing a little cluster that adds to it, in that it brings the colors in a different area of the page, but then it also helps tell the story, whether it be word stickers, phrase stickers, maybe the title itself. I'm not very good at like creating my own titles. I'll often use the pre-made product as my titles. Like here I did that as well. And then there's also another card down here that says love. So I don't really have like a real obvious title to this page, but I just like to use a lot of the already made words and phrases and stickers and things like that to kind of be my title for me, if that makes sense. And so, but that you'll see that I tend to kind of, that's how I tend to scrapbook, is the picture and then a cluster that kind of brings it all together. I also really like to do, and I don't do it all the time, I like to do larger mats. So I really like to do, often I'll do a more neutral, like the smallest layer is going to be usually more of a neutral tone, like either white or you know, a more neutral color that kind of allows your eye to rest. And then I'll do the fun patterns kind of on the outer edges. Here, lots of pattern because it's very busy, but I calmed it down a little bit with this yellow paper. Is more of a solid that kind of goes between the two pattern papers, and then these tags that had very little on them that I could use to write on. And so it's a busier layout, but you'll typically see that I don't typically have that much pattern in the bigger formats like that. Usually my pattern papers are in smaller amounts. But I love this layout. It's super fun. It's super dimensional. And I'm glad I got it documented. Not just the kindness that this gal showed my daughter by getting this gift for her, but their relationship as well. And I love this collection. This collection is perfect. It's just a really pretty birthday themed collection, and I really enjoyed using it. So I keep catching myself saying fun a lot, so I apologize if I say that was a fun layout to make. But I really had a good time making all these layouts, because again, this is my main time I get a scrapbook is during these weekends. So they were all fun for me to make, for sure. So this is one same collection that I made. Actually come out just a little bit here. And this was a layout just focusing on my daughter, and it was kind of talking about her 16th birthday, but also the shirt she was wearing, because it's very much about what she's into these days. And so here I did a pattern paper down here, and then I used one of the banner chipboard stickers along the top here. So it brings, even though it's a white background, I have a bunch of color down here, and then those same colors are brought back up to the top there. And then I did kind of an L format, and that I embellished here, but then I embellished up and I embellished this way. And so I used tags and twine and chipboard stickers, and I did use some roller stamps there and there, journal down here. There was one birthday sticker pack, like chipboard sticker pack from Hobby Lobby that I think like this is from. So there might be some other product kind of mixed in. I think these are both from that sticker pack, and this one as well. So these three were from Hobby Lobby. I think everything else is from that particular collection. And so just journaled along some of the white here, and then about kind of her birthday, and then down here journaled a little bit more about her shirt, because that was a big funny part of the picture. But she's just become a beautiful 16-year-old, and I don't know how this happens. It happens so fast. but it was fun to document her turning that big 16. So this is some layered like die cuts that were with Webster's pages, some chipboard, so lots of good fun dimension on here, and then some little kind of bling and lots of enamel dots, still using the bling and enamel dots and jewels and things like that to finish off those little, you know, provide those little bits and pieces at the very end, these little hearts. And yeah. Okay. Sorry, I'll try not to talk too much. So this isn't like an hour-long video. So this is when I taken some pictures of my daughters together before we were waiting for her friends to arrive for the friend party. We had a friend party and we had a family party. And here I did the backwards owl. You'll also see that here I just did a plain white background. If I don't have it matted with a pattern paper, then I often will do this black line just to give it a little, I don't know, it just gives it a little bit of something. And so I like to do that if it's just a plain white background, just to do, and it's haphazard, it's not straight, it's just kind of a fun outline of the background paper. And I just did lots of, again, dimension and just fun clustering. I did like one little, this was from Hobby Lobby too, these balloons were, but did some embellishing here and then some embellishing up this way. Just using cards. I popped up, I buy these foam squares or foam rectangles. They come in like a roll at Hobby Lobby, and I like to just go through it. I'll just like randomly like pop up things and stick them under so that there's some dimension to the page. I also like to, when I have a bunch of flat layers, like whether strips or you know, squares or rectangles, you know, that are underneath the photo, I like to just take my fingers and just go like this, and it gives it a little bit of dimension. And of course it probably flattens out a little bit in the album, but I like to do that again just so that it doesn't all look so flat. And so you'll see that I did that with a lot of these pages. That's something I like to do, making sure you guys can see everything okay. And so I'll show you the clusters here. Some jewels, these are from Hobby Lobby. The balloons are from Hobby Lobby. Super cute. Colors were perfect for this particular paper line. And just a layer of some die cuts and cards and chipboard stickers down there. And this is a sticker border strip. So that was fun. I see, I won't say that anymore. I think birthday pages are just fun because they're just a fun topic to document. So this one was then part of the Friends Night Out, and I just did one of her and her friends, and then the whole group of the girls as we were eating at Fuji. And this is where they, you know, cook the food in front of you, which is fun. And this particular paper line had, I can't remember, it's called Webster's Pages, and it was, I don't remember what it was called. But anyway, it came with a whole bunch of cards. So like 2x2, I think 3x4, 4x6 cards. So I just layered a whole bunch of them up there and then interspersed some of these word and phrase stickers. This and this, see, these are both from the Hobby Lobby sticker sheet, but I think everything else is from that collection. And then journal down here on the white paper. And just put some chipboard underneath here, just because I had a lot of dimension here. I had dimension here. I wanted that third place of dimension. So I just tucked in this chipboard tag under here. And then I have then twine. I have twine just kind of rolled up underneath here, and then twine here and here. So again, that triangular thing that always helps kind of bring things together. And here I just outlined the white paper with an ombre green, and then that green shows back up in these cards and some of the embellishments. So, and then there's a few other layers of pattern paper underneath, just to, again, bring all those fun patterns together. So this paper was a little bit of a blast from the past. This is from an old Heidi Swap line called Soiree. It was such a cute party line. I loved it. I still have quite a bit of it left, at least the papers. I don't think I have a lot of embellishments left, but used that as a background, and then this paper was from the Webster's Pages, and it was perfect because her like party supplies I used were like a metallic rainbow, and so these papers were just perfect for this particular birthday. And here I just kind of kind of layered the 3 photos. It had them wearing the funny glasses, and then just tucked things in and embellished around the photos. And so there's some balloons from Hobby Lobby, then some of these jewels are from Hobby Lobby, then everything else I think was from the sticker sheet or die cut packs from that Webster's Pages. So there's that. And now we are to the home party with family, and this was just a picture of her blowing out the candles and us eating the cookie and her with a piece of the cookie. Another kind of L formation here. And I think oh, you know what? I had lost we're going to do this here. I had lost nope, that goes there. One of these jewels earlier, and I think that this is where it goes on this tag. There should be a jewel there. Oh, here it is. It just moved on me, I think. The stickiness stayed there. I don't think I would have put it over the word. So sometimes things just move on you, don't they? There we go. Oops. Okay. So did triangular embellishment. So cluster here, here, and here, and then did some journaling there. And this will actually go along with this divided page protector here that has some other just photos of the details of the party, and it is front and back. And so I I like to put in sequins and then seal the top. I didn't have that stuff with me. I didn't have the fuse with me. So I may or may not do that. I don't know. The cards are pretty bright and colorful, but I think putting sequins in and then having them kind of shake inside the pockets is really fun. And I know I have a bazillion sequins, so I might find some kind of rainbow colored ones and intersperse them in these pockets and then seal them. So that I think I still may want to do. So just did some of the just some of the other photos I didn't want to make a specific layout about, but I wanted to have kind of all the pictures from the party together. And so those will go together. And that was, I think this paper was from, I love this paper. I think it was an Echo Park Party line. I don't remember what it was called, but I just love that paper. It's so pretty. I had 2 of them. I think I still have 1 left. Okay, this collection, I think this is a Simple Stories, like family themed collection. I don't remember, you guys. I'm so sorry. It looks like Simple Stories to me. I know it was a family time or something like that. It's not super new or anything, but I did make a couple layouts with that. So what I usually do is, so when I finish up with the birthday layouts, we have a big enough, we get a suite, and so we have enough space. I'll just kind of keep the kits that I've been working with. I'll keep them kind of on the floor next to me, and because you're going to see I'm going to make another layout with that collection of supplies. But when I get bored of it, I'll just pull in another kit, start working on that, put the other one aside, and then I can always grab from it if I need to, so I can still continue to use those supplies. Or if I find another birthday picture or whatever, I can pull it back up on my table. And so this is when obviously I was done with the birthday stuff and moved on to a different kit. But I only made like 3 layouts with this. So I think it's Simple Stories. It looks like Simple Stories to me. And so I just flipped through my photos, and I knew I had some pictures that I wanted to go with this collection, just because there were some reds and blues and worked better with the color scheme, but also the point of the pictures, or like the stories behind the pictures, matched the theme of the particular kit. So this was a picture about them being sisters and being goofy, and even though it was from the night of her birthday, that wasn't the story I wanted to tell. It was stories about how funny they are and how they held up the piece of pizza to be funny. Anyway, so here I just did a layer of pattern paper, and then some other strips of pattern paper and vellum behind, kind of haphazard and like torn. And then did a cluster up here that matched the patterns you're seeing down here, and then embellished kind of around the photo and then along the cluster. And then I did use a roller stamp there as well. So there's kind of a close-up of, so, and then more. So these are some funny pictures. I loved scrapbooking these. So I don't know, I walked in the living room, and my husband had laid down to take a nap, and he likes to sleep with like a pillow kind of over his head just because it was during daylight and helps keep it dark for him, you know. And my dog just like plopped on the pillow on top of his head. It was the funniest thing ever. It was so cute. So I wanted to document that, and so I just did two vertical pictures here and then a horizontal picture here. And so I kind of did two clusters of pictures and pattern papers and embellishments, and so that was fun. I thought just that, you know, this is like home, right? Dog just laying on your face. It was just a funny story. So, and then I think this is the last one from this particular collection, and this was actually also from my daughter's birthday party, but the focus was on my other daughter, who was opening up her Christmas gift from her godparents. And so she did that first before Keaton opened up her birthday presents. And so I didn't want it to be part of the birthday party story. I wanted it to be its own story. So I went ahead and you know, I'll have it kind of in her album. And just because it was focusing on the tradition that we have, or that her godparents have, of giving her a Christmas gift. And so we hadn't seen them since Christmas, so this is the first time that she had seen them, and so she opened the gift there. And so I wanted to tell that story. Here I used a bunch of strips of fun papers, and then just layered the photos on top, journaled underneath here, and then just did some embellishing kind of along the photo, and then a cluster up here. Again, that whole photo cluster in some format tends to be my go-to for a lot of my pages. I love doing strips behind. There's another layout that has this similar style. It's just a great way to use up scraps. It's a great way to use up the strips off the 12 by 12 papers. You can intersperse washi in there. I didn't on this one, but it makes for a fun design and background. So the next collection that I worked with was actually an older collection from October afternoon. It was a library themed collection, and I had set it aside because I knew that I wanted to tell stories about my mom. She was a librarian, and so I have lots of stories just about me growing up in the library. You know, after school, I'd go hang out with her at work until she was off, then we'd go home. And, you know, just I kind of lived there as like a second home to me, but then just also stories about her being a librarian, moving from a small town library to the bigger library when we moved to a bigger city, and then her helping me with research. And so I have a bunch of stories I want to tell. I have them all written down, and in this, I have just my list in this pack, this kit. So I still have a few stories to tell with this collection pack. But I did have some photos with me that also fit this story or this theme as well, you know, books, library, that kind of thing. And so I went ahead and broke into it and started scrapbooking with it. This collection's a few years old, you guys. October Afternoon is not around anymore. I wish they were. I forgot how much I love their product. But anyway, so this particular picture was a picture that I took off of Facebook. The high school librarian had taken this really fun photo of the sophomore class with their books that they were reading at the time. Super cute photo, and so I wanted to scrapbook it, and so I just have some fun pattern papers layered up here, and then behind the photo a bunch of the cards and some dictionary print paper and cards and like library card elements and reading embellishments to kind of all tucked in underneath the picture there, so that helps tell the story as well of the fact that they're all reading. So, And then this one is a 2-pager, which I don't do too often, but I will every so often. And we recently, for our book club, just read our 100th book and had a little afternoon party when we were discussing it to celebrate our 100th book, 13 years as being part of this book club. And so I took some photos throughout the day and then just wanted to document some details of the day. Also, the newspaper came and did a story on us. This is a picture that they took. And probably in the middle of this 2-pager, I'm going to have just an 8.5 by 11 page protector that has a newspaper story in it. So it will be with this layout that it all together tells the whole story. So I just used the product for the theme that it already has going, and it helped tell the story of reading and the book club and all that fun stuff. So sorry, I lost my train of thought there. And then my daughter is working at our public library now. And so they have this thing called Innovation Station, and it's where they bring in these different stations. Like every few weeks they change. So like I know for right now, I think they have like a Cricut there, and they have different technology and different machines, and the community can come in and use these things, like make their own t-shirts or whatever. And so my daughter, part of her job is learning all of these, and then she helps people use these machines or technology or different things like that. And so I had some random pictures of her at her different stations that she had been training on, and wanted to document that story. And so here these were a lot busier. Don't have a lot of white backgrounds in these, but that's okay. So I just layered some of the pattern papers, and then just intersperse a lot of the chipboard and die cuts and brads and chipboard stickers, tucked them in. I pop dotted some up, and helped tell the story that way. Journaled here and here, and glad that I got that story told, because it's a pretty significant part of her life right now, which is fun. Kind of her first job besides babysitting. This one will have this is 8.5 by 11, and it's going to have a divided page protector that's going to go over here. So this, my same daughter actually wrote a children's story, and then one of the stations was creating sound effects. So she actually created the sound effects to go along with her story. And then during the last, they have like story time for kids every Saturday during the month of February. And so the very last one, she got to be the one who read the story, and she wrote her story and then had sound effects to go along with the story. And so I have a picture of her with all the kids, but I have some more pictures I have yet to print that I'm going to actually accompany in a divided page protector. And then I want to include the actual story itself. And tell the story a little bit more thoroughly. So this is a very busy page, but the page protector is going to be a little bit cleaner on the right side, and I'll use some of the product so that it stays cohesive, but it'll be cleaner. The second page of this will be a little bit cleaner. But it was just kind of the iconic like children's story time, and so I wanted to use all these really fun children's story time icons, and so I decorated that page up pretty good. But there will be another page to this story overall. So, okay, now the next collection I worked with was actually Dear Lizzie's, not her brand new one, obviously, but like I think her last two I combined together. I know one of them what was I think her last one, and the one before, I think, is it called Wildflower maybe? And then there was another one, I don't remember the name of it, but it was the one that came with those really big white chipboard scripty words. So I combined those two together and scrapbooked with those for quite a few layouts here. So this one I kind of pulled to pink, orange, yellow, goldish elements together to tell the story of my daughter's car keys, which I know sounds kind of odd, but I really like to document the daily things, the things that we may see as insignificant, but one day we'll look back and say, oh my gosh, that was really, a really cool thing to remember, or I forgot about that. And this was my daughter's first set of car keys. Like, she just turned 16. She's been driving for a year, but just got her official license. And I wanted to document that change. It's a major change, not just with the typical picture of her in her car and all that stuff, but this little detail, it shows her fun keychain, her glittery mace, her lip balm holder, her cute little keychains that she picked out on her own. And I wanted just to document that and that little detail of her life, and also that detail of our lives, and having a driver in the house, a new driver in the house, and kind of the fear that goes along with that as a mom. And so that was just a fun story to tell. And I just pulled a lot of the colors that were in the photo for that layout. So you'll notice I use a lot of glassine bags whenever I feel like I need some, I'm not providing enough resting space for the eyes, but I don't want, I do have some white in here, but some layouts I may not want stark white. I love to use vellum and glassine bags as a white element that isn't like a stark white. And it also provides a really fun texture. It's a little wrinkly, and it just is a different texture. And so I like to, you'll see I use those in a lot of layers and backgrounds. And this was one of those that I did that. So for me, that's a fun way to add white, but not to add like more white cardstock than I want. And so I do have like a white tag here, but that just kind of added some fun texture to that cluster that I have behind the photo. And as you can see, so I have a lot of layers behind the photo, and then I have this fun frame here. It says never forget this, and then underneath that I put a sticker that says one more chapter, and that was kind of perfect for this story. So I love these bling dots from Hobby Lobby. They're so fun and pretty, and the colors are gorgeous. Okay, continuing on. Hopefully you guys aren't getting too bored yet. So here is a layout about my other daughter playing games with a friend at my coffee shop, and I just wanted to document just one that we that was a recent change that we made. We redid our entire front room and made it more into a hangout place where kids can like hang out and play games. And so I knew my daughter was there, but I kind of walked up there and caught them playing Battleship, which was just awesome, and took a quick picture, and I wanted to document that. And so I did some horizontal strips of, there's pattern papers, there's a couple of washies behind the photo, and then just, again, lots of layers behind the photo, some of the glassine bag, washi here, and then embellished kind of in that L format again, so kind of up here and then to the right, and use some puffy stickers and die cuts and cards and dimensional pieces, and then just journaled underneath. I really like using neutral papers for that purpose, to be able to journal directly onto the page. And there's a close-up of that. And this one, so I don't know, sometimes I've talked about this in the past. I'll sit down and I'll do like a class or whatever. This time around, I've been trying to be super on top of finding layouts on Instagram that I really like and saving them to my, where you can save Instagram posts into different categories. And I've been really trying to like get layouts, when I see a neat layout, saving it into that. And so that's kind of what I mainly used this time around for inspiration. Was I just went through my Instagram layouts that I had saved, and this is one of them. I just really liked, it's very simple, but I just liked how they did the strips appear in an uneven way. And this particular picture was about my daughter helping, I think, a preschooler decorate cookies during school. Like, they like to, they do a really good job of kind of bringing the older kids to come help the younger kids with certain things. And I'd taken that picture off of Facebook. And so I splatter misted. I use a school notepaper themed background. I use this paper with like the pins and colored pencils. So it had that kind of school theme to it in a not totally obvious way, but they were at school. Did lots of fun layering behind the photo, interspersed some fun word phrases. And then these there were, I think, a pack of 4 of these in that one of the Dear Lizzie collections. So I used one of those. And then just to get a little bit of more texture, so it wasn't just a square, I just added some tags over here with some fun string there, and then added one chipboard sticker up here that says delightful. So, and then just did a little journaling down here. So it wasn't like a major story, but it was a fun story that I wanted to document, and thought it was a really cute page with all the really fun color and playfulness to it. And we're still working with Dear Lizzie products here. So this is one, just my other daughter and a couple of her friends. I just taken a snapshot of them when they were hanging out at our house one day, and used one of these really big Dear Lizzie chipboard words, and did some larger matting on this one. So you got lots of fun colors on the outside, but then the white kind of main background and layers, and cluster at the top there. I put this fun house there just because these friends come to our house quite often, and so that fit really well. Okay. And then this one here, again, similar style, but just different papers, different. This one has a little bit of a different structure, and then I created this banner. So it's not just a bunch of layers behind the photo, it's layers and then this different shaped layer at the very bottom. And then, but very similar structure in that, you know, the photo with embellishment, and then a cluster up here that brings it all together with the colors and the themes. And then here I did a couple strips along the top there as well. Okay. This is very similar, but it's just the clusters along the bottom instead. So, and this is a little bit more horizontal, kind of covers more of the page horizontally. But I have a washi strip down here, and then just some horizontal layers here and some washi up here. Title, embellishment, and then an embellishment cluster. And then I journaled just on top of this washi here, right above this washi. It kind of created a nice little table for me to just journal right over it. And then did again a white background, but made sure I added some color to it by matting it with a pattern paper. And a lot of times when I do this, when I'm covering up a big portion of a pattern paper, I will actually cut out a good portion of the middle so that I can still use that pattern somewhere else, because most of it's obviously covered up with the layer that's on top of it. So I will do that on a regular basis. So. This is probably my favorite from the weekend. It's very girly. It's pictures of me and my daughters. We had family pictures taken, gosh, we're probably about 3 years ago maybe. And a lot of them, we took them in the fall. And so the colored ones are all like very fall colored, but there's some of them I had printed in black and white. And so it allowed me to use these really girly, fun, bright, beautiful colors to focus on me and my daughters. And so I just love how this one turned out. I love the colors. I love this floral paper so much. And I think I used the whole pack of flower stickers on this page from this Dear Lizzie collection, and some washi strips down here. I love this washi. And then did some cluster here, a little cluster up here, cluster down here. And there's really no story. I just dated it. It's just a picture of me and my daughters. And it's a moment in time that I wanted to document. You know, we change, especially my daughters change so quickly over time. And so I just wanted to scrapbook the pictures with no necessary story. So I created this little banner look on each side there. Used some glassine there, tucked in some phrases. There's that cluster. Love these glitter heart enamel stickers. They're so cute. Then I moved on to, okay, here, actually really quickly, I found this photo and I was just going to scrapbook it with one of these other collections. But then I'm like, you know what? They were celebrating a birthday, although it's not real obvious in the picture. They had gone out to a birthday lunch and then had come to the coffee shop for smoothies. And so I'm like, I have birthday themed product. I'm going to use a birthday themed product. So I pulled that collection back up to my table and made this page really quick, just documenting this little fun outing that they had. They're, you know, driving now, which is crazy. And they went out to lunch by themselves. And anyway, just a fun, it's just so different than, you know, us moms, you know, coordinating with all the kids and going, you know, having a party or taking them all somewhere. They're kind of doing it on their own now. And just kind of a fun, just a fun phase of life to document. And I kept it pretty simple. I just did some fun papers here, and then did some chipboard, a little cluster up there, used some of the brads, titled it Happy Birthday, and just let the picture kind of speak for itself. So I love this background paper. It was kind of perfect. We have in our coffee shop, we have all these like hanging lights because we have an open ceiling. And so we have just lights hanging everywhere. It's a very, it just has a really cool look to it. And so I love that kind of, the paper kind of had that feeling to it as well. That's the word I'm looking for. Anyway, so that worked out well. Okay, so then I pulled out, and I had worked with it before, but I had a ton of it left. Paige Evans' the one that she came out with last fall. Was it Grateful Heart, I think is what it was called. And so I scrapbooked with it for a little bit. Oh, whoops, hold on. Just kidding. I have one more from the Dear Lizzie. One more Dear Lizzie one, then I'll get to that. So this is one where I just did the strips again, but I went vertical with them. And then just had one focal picture and decorated around the photo, but then did a little cluster up in the corner. So a little bit different in that the cluster is kind of in this corner by itself versus like on, you know, the bottom or top of the page, it's in the corner instead. So it's kind of a fun change. And I made sure I balanced it out with this kind of really big chipboard sticker here, because you have this kind of big cluster here, and I like have that little cluster, that's a similar size down here, if that makes any sense. And then did a couple embellishments here, and then a card here, and then just journaled here. So it's kind of one of those, when you look at it, and not in an obvious way, but it's kind of a diagonal design to it. And you have the journaling here, and then you have this sticker, the picture, and then you have this final cluster there. So there's that one. Okay, now back to Paige Evans' fall line. This one, I had these photos of my daughters picking up leaves, and so I wanted to document that. And they happened to have, like, she had navy blue and then this orangish color, and this leaf paper had both of those colors, so it just felt perfect. And I just I don't often use 4 photos on a page, but I wanted to get them all on here, so I tried to crop them down a little bit, and then just layered some of the papers, and then a bunch of the fun flowers and embellishments kind of just scattered throughout the page there. And this one, I don't normally do, I don't normally scrapbook Halloween pictures without Halloween product, but I felt like their costumes this last fall just were perfect for this paper line, with the purples and the burgundies and the golds and the navies. So I'm like, you know what? I don't have to have Halloween themed product to scrapbook this. It's not like, I don't even know if they went trick-or-treating. I think they just really kind of wore them for their costumes for school. And so anyway, so I went ahead and scrapbooked some Halloween pictures with this collection, and it worked out perfect. So this paper is, I think was the specialty paper that came with the Truly Grateful. Is that what I said? And it has that gold foil. It's gorgeous. And I just did some fun layering behind the two photos. Used some of the glassine bags, these really beautiful jewels from Hobby Lobby, and the rest of it is from that Paige Evans collection. So this turned out super cute. Just matched their outfits beautifully and had a lot of fun putting that together. Used some washi here, and colors were just perfect. I love it when that happens. It's also from that, or this is actually, hold on. So this is also from Halloween, but this is actually a different collection. I think this is the only layout that I made with this collection. It was, I think, at Pink Paisley. But it was more of a, like, it had like, there's a whole different color scheme. I can't think of what it was called, but this is not Paige Evans. I think it's Pink Paisley's. I could be wrong. I don't remember. Anyway, so focusing on just one daughter, she really had a lot of the burgundy and the navy showing up in these close-ups, and then the gold. And so I pulled out this collection, I think just for this one layout, must have been, to make this page. I think this was the last one that I made, probably. The colors, again, just worked perfect. Kept it pretty simple, just the pictures side by side. This was a specialty vellum paper. And did some, of the embellishments tucked underneath, these little clips here, and then title, and then journaling. It's a very simple page, but the colors are just perfect for this particular layout. So for her costume there. And then back to Paige Evans' fall line. I made this page. My daughter was wearing this purple dress, and so I thought these plum purple papers were perfect. How's that for some alliteration? To document these photos. They're photos we took after my daughter's one-act performance, so a family photo and a picture of the girls together, and I just want to document those two photos together. And so I just, again, a strip of paper, glassine bag, a pattern paper underneath, and then some cluster here and a cluster up here with a little bit there as well. So again, kind of that diagonal thing going on there as far as the embellishment's concerned. So here's a close-up of use some wood veneer, just some journaling cards and stickers, popped up the butterfly, and there's that cluster there. So guys, that is it. that is a good stack of layouts I now get to put away. But it was so fun to make them. I had a great weekend. It always goes by way too fast, but I always have such a good time and come home with a lot of stuff done. And just wanted to show you guys what I made, and apologize for the fact that it might be a little while before I have too many layout shares. Now, who knows? Maybe things will happen and I'll get another weekend in before I think I will. And it's always hard to tell. But I'm looking forward to this next, I guess, part of our journey. It's coming sooner than what we thought it would, but we're really looking forward to opening up a second location and continuing to support small towns. In the middle of the country, small communities struggle, with keeping businesses going. And I feel like maybe that's something that we can help keep, provide a place for community to get together, help support other businesses, help with events, that bring people to town. I feel like there's just kind of a direction. I think that we're kind of, I guess kind of our purpose a little bit. Not just to have a business and sell coffee. Like, it's way more than that, especially in these smaller communities that are struggling in this day and age of buying everything on the internet. And so, we've seen that with scrapbook stores. Scrapbook stores have, most of them have closed because people don't, shop online so much. And that's kind of just part of the way it is. But I think there's something to be said for community and bringing people together. And so I ask for your prayers and your thoughts as we open the second location, and I hope you're understanding for the fact I probably won't be doing a lot of videos, you know, as far as scrapbooking is concerned, because we'll be pretty busy doing that and getting that moving along. So thank you guys so much for watching, and hope you're all doing well, and happy scrapping. Bye-bye.